on Horribly Fantastic, we won't be talking about something atrocious from the 80s. Oh no. We're going to look further into the past to the people who specialize in creating turn them out movies. And Island of Terror is exactly one of those movies. It stars Peter Cushing, the only guy who showed up to actually give like a really good performance. It's a little shocking. It also stars Edward Judd. I don't know who he is, but he was either tired, bored, or drunk for most of the movie. And our last co-star was Carole Gray. Nothing to add. This movie was directed by Terence Fisher, who was very famous for his basically rinse and repeat horror movies that spanned nearly 3 decades. Anyways, outside of that, let's get this show on the road. And remember, just because I made jokes about this movie doesn't mean I dislike it. And I still actually highly recommend a viewing.
But something of terror at this theater soon.
On the remote Petrie Island off the east coast of Ireland, farmer Ian Bellows goes missing and his wife contacts the local police. A word that may imply more than one. It doesn't. Constable John Harris, the only officer on the island, finds the farmer dead in a cave without a single bone in his body and runs to the island's physician, Dr. Reginald Landers. Maybe he has a phone? Well, it doesn't matter. No calls are made and Landers doesn't know what killed the man either. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, Dr. Landers is given 2 options, choosing between voyaging to the mainland for more police and investigative team to look for a killer, or notifying no one and hiring a London pathologist who has never seen what Dr. Landers describes. Dr. Landers does the only sensible choice. Seeks the help of a noted London pathologist, Dr. Brian Stanley. Who needs the police? Stanley is unable even to hypothesize. Stanley is unable even to hypothesize. Oh my gosh, that word. What could have happened? Oh, so the trip was worthless. No, of course not. We're in London. We'll contact the government.
Have you heard of David West?
I think so, yes.
No, we're going to seek out another doctor? Okay. Both men seek out Dr. David West, an expert on bones, bone diseases, and giving bonings. Although Stanley and Landers interrupts West's quiet evening at home with jet-setter Tony Merrill, West is intrigued by the problem and agrees to accompany the 2 doctors back to Petrie. Petrie? Oh, Petrie's Island to examine the corpse. Yeah. Sorry, it just struck me. Petrie Island. That's lazy writing. Petri dish, Petrie Island. Ugh. In order for them to reach the island quickly, Merrill offers the use of her father's private helicopter, which they keep calling a plane, in exchange for the 3 men allowing her to come along on the adventure. And, that's a real choice. I mean, I don't know if I would make it either. I mean, stay in London, spend lavishly, or venture to a deadly disease-swept island that's being taken over by bone-sucking creatures. Oh. Now I see why Dr. West went. He's in for a rude awakening. Once back at Petrie Island, Merrill's father's helicopter is forced to return to the mainland so he can use it. Also, that means there's no escape now, because apparently no one has boats on this island.
Well, then I'll take the emergency launch and go and see Brian Stanley in London.
Well, don't forget that launch is our only contact with the mainland in case we need help.
But this leaves the foursome stranded on Petrie. West and Stanley learn that a group of oncology researchers, cancer researchers, led by the Dr. Lawrence Phillips, have a secluded castle laboratory on the island. Because I can tell you right now, anytime you hear about a doctor who has a laboratory and a castle on a secluded, isolated island, you know nothing is going down behind those doors. Nothing. Paying a visit to Phillips' lab with a quick look into the do not enter radiation room reveals that he and his colleagues are dead and boneless, as Bellows, reasoning that whatever it must have been begun in that lab. And another quick check in after this discovery? No. They still haven't called the mainland police or military, Irish British governments. I mean, nobody. West and Stanley and Landers take Phillips' notes back to the inn where they are staying to study them. They learn that in this quest to cure cancer, Phillips may have accidentally created a new life form from the silicon atom. Thinking the doctors are still at the castle, Constable Harris bikes up there to tell them about the discovery of a dead, boneless horse. I feel like I should fill this in. Another island resident reported that they found the corpse of their horse without any bones inside on the other side of the island. So, being the good constable that he is, he rings up the mainland. I'm kidding. He did do that. Harris bikes to the castle laboratory only to wander into the laboratory's test animals room and is killed by an off-screen tentacle creature, the result of Dr. Phillips' experiments. The creature, dubbed silicates by West and Stanley, kill their victims by injecting a bone-dissolving enzyme into their bodies. This is after the discovery of Constable Harris, of course, when they venture back to the castle for more research and find Harris. The silicates prove difficult to kill as Stanley, West, and Merrill learn when Landers tries to kill one at the castle with an axe, but is himself killed. And I just want to add that I did not add the slurping sound. That is genuinely the sound they have for the movie. I didn't do that. During this first encounter, they learned that silicates produce by dividing, and they seem to also create a bowl of spaghetti. Deadly and delicious. Later, they also discovered that they divide every 6 hours. The scientists calculate that the island will be totally infested by nightfall. After learning all they can from the late Dr. Phillips' notes, West and Stanley recruit the islanders, led by Roger Campbell, to attack the silicates. First, they use firearms, kinetic energy. Next, fire, Molotov cocktails. Third, after the first two fail, dynamite. Because when kinetic energy and fire doesn't combine the two, and they surely will, their attempts are, unsuccessful. Pondering if they should evacuate the island or call the military, they discover one dead, one silicate. West and Stanley deduce the creatures can be destroyed using the rare isotope strontium-90. That's right, kids. Cancer can be defeated with chemo. Also, the silicates ate a dog that was very sick because someone fed the dog one of the isotopes off-screen. Why? Dr. Stanley and West venture back to the castle, enter the do not enter room. This time, they have a reason. Spend 3 or so minutes putting on radiation suits. Wish I was lying. And fetch the S-90. When trying to leave, though, Stanley is attacked, but the silicate, a real sicko, this silicate, takes his time slurping up his bones. Probably because they taste like fine wine. Enough time for West to use an axe and cut Stanley's hand off and flee. They obtain enough isotope to contaminate a herd of cattle. They set up a trap and the silicates feed on them, the cattle, which seems a little counterproductive to creatures that replicate after they eat, but at first there seems to be no effect. The silicates break into the community hall and kill many of the islanders, but luckily none of the outsiders. Wes, Merrill, and some surviving residents barricade themselves in the clinic with Stanley, who justifiably wasn't fighting the silicates because of the lack of hand. Merrill freaks out. West and Stanley prepare to kill her, but she is saved by the silicates, who agree to die if they, West and Stanley, agree not to kill the woman. The story ends with the evacuation and medical teams inbound from the mainland now. Now, you call. Okay. West commenting on how fortunate they were this outbreak was confined to an island. Had it happened on the mainland, he notes, they might have never stopped them in time.
If it had happened anywhere else, I don't think we would have been able to destroy them.
Epilogue. A visit to the satellite program in Japan where the technicians duplicating Phillips' work with inevitable results. A technician walks down a corridor, hears a strange noise, and investigates before screaming. And that's our movie. Lovely classic of incompetence, and I still don't know why they didn't evacuate or call the military. But if you are being besieged by creatures that want to suck the bones from your body, please call the police. Bye.